Good morning, guys. Today we're painting a landscape. It's gonna be clouds and mountains and trees. Some pretty cool clouds. So get your coffee and let's get to it. So first I'm just going to kind of draw in the landscape. There's not much to do here, so let's just get to it. I just want to throw in these mountains and trees really quick. So the trees are just at the bottom, a little bit down here. Artists are all different with how they put in this first stage where they draw. For me, I don't like to do a lot. I just need to kind of map out what I'm about to do. I don't need much detail at all. We will get to all that. Hey guys, let me know, do you like seeing this first stage where I'm drawing it in? Or would you rather that I don't do that and I just have it drawn in before we even start the painting, so that we can just get right into painting? Let me know. I'm interested to know. I'm trying to keep it clean here. Usually with my videos it's not that clean. I'm trying to change here. Okay, and the clouds, they're pretty bright, so I don't even want, I don't want this color. I don't want this drawing to be seen underneath the clouds, so let's just take a lighter, near white, so it won't really get in the way of it too much, and just kind of quickly draw in where the cloud's gonna go. Hey guys, if you want the reference photos for these, for all the paintings that I do on YouTube, I have reference photos all on Patreon. So if you join Patreon, you can get all these reference photos, which will help you paint better, and you can use them along in these videos. And it's a way to support the channel if you want to do that, if you have the means to do it. Obviously, you do not have to, but it's nice when someone wants to support an artist. I like to do it as much as I can myself, which hopefully later in life I'll be able to do a little more. I love buying work from other artists and displaying it when I can. Alright guys, that is about it for my drawing. I don't like putting a ton in there. And even the clouds, I don't even know why I did that, because I'm going to have to take blue for the sky, obviously, and put it across the back there. And I'm not going to see those clouds anymore, even though I like them how they're done. So anyway, don't do what I do and make mistakes every single day. Let's get into the block in. So that means we are going to quickly block in all the colors and map the whole thing out. So let's get a blue for the sky. So what I'm going to take is some ultramarine blue, a little bit of teal. It changes the sky color a lot. I really like using a little bit of teal just to take it from this almost like a royal blue that the ultramarine looks like to me, like just a typical blue. Put a little teal in there and it just really changes it up. Gives it a lot of vibrancy and makes it look a little more sky-like, at least to me. So let's take this and let's get the sky. You know what, since I like how I put these clouds in here, I'm actually not going to fully do the blue of the sky over the clouds. I'm going to actually leave it like that and go around them. Because these clouds actually have some pink and some orange in them, it's pretty good that I start my canvases out with a ground of this kind of pinkish orangish color or whatever I choose at the time. So this is perfect for this photo, because the clouds have these colors already, so I can do this. If a cloud is just white and you actually can see through it a lot of clouds you can still see through and see the blue in there, then I would cover the whole sky in the blue. But this one is different. Okay, so again, this is just a block in, so your sky does not have to be perfect. We're gonna be going over it again later. So it can look blotchy like this if you want. You can just continue mixing your blue. When you run out of it, just mix a similar blue. Since the block-in, it doesn't have to all be the same. If it looks blotchy and you have different blues in there, I actually kind of like that, because in reality, it's not going to be the same color even from right here to right here. It's going to be a slightly different hue. So I like to just let that happen naturally as I paint. And if some of these clouds are a bit see-through, like I was just saying, a lot of clouds are, then make sure you do some overlapping or just go over it. So like over here, the clouds do turn a little bit blue, so I'm just kind of putting in the blue there over the drawing, because we're gonna have to redo that, and having the blue in that background actually helps, and you'll see why when we form the clouds. Alright, now mix some more blue. Something that I always say in these videos is for the sky, you'll see that it gets bluer as you go upwards. So I usually make just a muted, a lighter version of a blue at the bottom. And then you kind of have a gradient going up to where it gets darker up there. Okay. Okay, next, let's get these clouds. We always start from the background forward. So for the clouds, like I said, they're kind of pink like that, but they're not fully pink, so let's just mix a white, and usually I would mix the actual color, by putting in some yellow, some red, making this kind of pink color, which I guess I'll do since I'm talking about it. But since we have it where you can see it through and see that pink in the background, we just got lucky that way. You could just take a white and put it up there. With a lot of water, it'll be translucent. So let's just get the basic form of the cloud. Okay guys, I'm gonna continue doing this block in, and I will talk to you soon, but let's listen to a little music and continue putting this block in. It's blocking in. Blocking in. Alright, so in order to not do too much detail in the block-in, I just use this one brush for pretty much all of my block-ins all the time. So it's not too skinny and not too detailed. You can't do a lot of detail with this, and it kind of forces you to just keep it light and get it done semi-quickly. So I'd say during your block-in phase, you don't want to change your brush around so that you can make it look better or any of that. Just kind of get it done. And that is what I'm doing right now. If you guys have any questions about any of this, please leave some comments down below, leave some questions. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to paint next. And let me know where you are in the world. I'm very interested to see who's seeing these videos. Alright, let's get back to mixing. And we don't have a ton more to do, but let's continue and finish our block-in. Make sure you get all these orange highlights into the mountain here. That's going to be kind of the focal point of this painting. besides the clouds, which are also gonna look really cool. But all of the orange, the bright oranges from that light of the sunset or sunrise, whatever it is, this is what's gonna make the painting. So make sure you get all of that in. Don't miss any of it. Okay, and there's a little bit of snow back here. Since it's the block in, you can just take a white if you want, or kind of orange it up a little bit because the light's hitting it and it's turning it really orange. Even if you can't really see that in the reference photo, that is what it's doing. There's some snow on the top of this cliff here. That snow is actually kind of what's showing us the shape of this thing. Without that snow, I think everything would kind of get lost into the back and you wouldn't know what's in front and what's in back. So the snow is really going to help really ground the painting. Over here we have a little waterfall, very little waterfall, so it really just looks like two little white lines going down the hill. So we'll just begin with that, a couple little lines going down. Okay. Okay, now let's get a little bit more detail into the mountain back here. Not a lot, but just enough to kind of know what's going on. So we need to make kind of a lighter gray here. Lighter gray with some blue. Maybe a little orange there. Okay. Yeah, so this part definitely isn't light enough. Let's just lighten it up. Some white, some yellow, some red. Alright guys, let me just play you some music and let's speed up this block in here a little bit. Okay guys, that is the block in. So finally we're going to get to the next stage, which is the sky and the clouds. Let's get these awesome clouds and sky done. So we're gonna begin with the blue of the sky. So like earlier, we're gonna make the sky with blue, ultramarine blue, a little bit of teal to brighten it up, a lot of white, a little more teal. Alright, I'd say that is a pretty good blue. Alright, let's throw it on. Now you can see why for the block in it doesn't, I don't know. Great. 1 second, guys. I like these videos not to look too messy. Let me just throw some white paint over that, which is not the best, but it's better than a blue streak. Maybe over here too. Just a little bit. Oh. Hey, if you guys can recommend a way for me to not do that and keep it clean, let me know in the comments below. I will read them. I am looking for a solution to that where this doesn't look messy on the sides. And I always seem to get it messy the way that I have it now. So anyway, as I was saying, you can see now why for the block in you don't really need to fully block in, because once you get to this stage, everything will get covered up just the same. It's okay to overlap your cloud a little bit. Clouds are generally kind of see-through on the edges, so you can overlap a bit. So take this kind of medium blue and use it all kind of in the middle of the painting, because at the bottom and at the top we might try to do a little gradient like I was saying earlier. So the middle can all be this kind of middle blue, and then let's mix a little bit lighter of a blue, take some white, put in that blue we already have, lighten it up. Now let's use this at the bottom here. And then same with over here. Use this lighter blue near the bottom and we can kind of blend it up and do the other blue. What I like to do sometimes is take a damp brush, a little bit of water on it. But take all the water off on a towel, and you can use that to kind of blend up. Okay, now the same blue, let's put more blue back in. And more teal. And let's get a little bit darker. Let's place this at the top. Hey, that's not even that much darker. Let's put a little more blue in there. A little more teal to keep it consistent. So it's darker, but it is the same hue. A little darker again. There we go. And just kind of brush it along the top. Let's maybe go a third down, or maybe even less than that. And if you have a kind of a blender brush like this, you can try using that. I like getting it a little bit wet first. Damp, not wet. As you can see, this blender brush is compromised. That is not working very well. There's a lot of streaks and things in there. I guess some paint dried on it. So I'm just going to take my regular brush again and kind of go over, try to get those streaks out. So if you use the right brushes, you can get all the streaks and the paint marks out of there. I kind of like to leave it a little painterly sometimes, where you know that it's a painting because you can see at least some of the strokes in there. It can still be realistic. Painterly doesn't mean it's not realistic. So what I'm saying is, I'm not gonna try to make this sky absolutely perfect. I just want it to be a sky. Let's pay more attention to the clouds here. Okay, so when we're doing the block in, what we're doing is we're taking midtones first, and then we get to the shadows and the highlights after that. But since it's a block in, we don't really have those details. So we're going to continue with midtones, so very close to the colors we already did, but we're making it more detailed by putting on more layers. So we're still in the midtones, and then we'll get to the shadows and then the highlights. So, midtones. Let's take a look at the palette. And first what I want to do is make an orange here. Kind of an orangey pink type of thing. Okay, so a little bit of white, but basically this is like an orange that we're going to keep on using. So we're going to take little bits of this. Take little bits of this and add it to our colors. So we're not going to use this kind of pure orange that we just made. Alright, so there's the orange. So let's just make a midtone and kind of an orange midtone. So a bit of white, let's grab some orange, put it in there. These clouds are actually a little more pink than orange, so I'm gonna add more red to this, maybe even more red to that orangey mixture here. Yeah, I need it more pinkish. It's easy to go overboard with it, like I may have just done. I think that might be pretty good. Okay, washing off the brush. Now for clouds, you're gonna want some rounded brushes. So a brush like this is kind of detailed, but it's round. It's not flat. It's not a dagger, it's not a flat head. So let's just take something like that. Ow. And let's add it wherever it goes. Okay. So now we're really looking for the edges, some of the details. Putting it in now, kind of how it's actually going to be. So just look for wherever this color is in the cloud. You're not going to put it everywhere, even though it all kind of looks that color. There are darks and lights and other hues in here. So you need to look close. Again, having the reference photos is really helpful. Check out my Patreon, which is linked below every video, if you want to check out all of my reference photos from all of these paintings. Someone's calling me, hold on. Okay guys, we've done the block in, now let's do kind of the mid-tones. Whoa. Where was that going? Okay, let's try that again. Alright, so we're done with the block in, so now we're doing the mid-tones of the cloud. So after we do the mid-tones, we'll do the darkest points, which are really not that dark because it's a cloud, but there's a little bit of color in there, a little bit of gray, and then we'll do the highlights. So let's take kind of a middle orange, something in the middle here, a mid-tone, like I was just saying. Okay. And let's continue giving a little bit of form to this cloud. You can take your brush and kind of twirl it around in these circles. Sometimes that can work to get that more fluffy appearance. You know what, I want more of a lighter pink, much lighter. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm gonna get some of these edges here just by kind of rolling this around. Once your paint starts running out, or once your brush starts kind of running out of paint, that's a good time to kind of blend the edges so that you can see just a bit of the sky coming through there. It gives the appearance that the cloud is actually fluffy instead of just a flat, crisp line on the edges there. So just kind of fluff those edges. So still, we're just kind of looking for those kind of lighter areas, the mid-tone areas for this color, or for this hue. And then you can grab your darker kind of orange. It's a little too orange. I want this to be more pink, so just put a little more red in there. And then get some white because that's way too dark. Okay, so let's try this shade, which is just a little more red. You know what? I want it to be a little darker, so I'm going to take a tiny little bit of blue and put it in there. So I guess now we are kind of getting into the shadows a little bit. So you can see, per usual, clouds are usually darker on the bottom. So on the bottom here you have all of this kind of gets bluish gray. So let's just take a little more blue into that mix, darken it up even more, but also get it a little more saturated with blue and a little red. Because that's looking a little too gray. We want to have it kind of blued out. You can even add a little teal if you have it. I like to do that for some extra pop of color. Okay, that's better. Because this isn't that big of a painting, I'm actually not going to stick truly to the form of the actual landscape. So here I don't have enough room above the mountain like I'm supposed to have, so I might actually leave a few things out, or at least kind of condense things a little bit. So if you're looking at the reference photo, yeah, I know it's a little bit off, but that is fine. I'm gonna mix some white into this blue and some blue into this blue. Because that red, that orange really desaturates the blue. So we need to really work with this paint here. When you're using these colors, they will cancel each other out. So I'm gonna go in here. There are a couple areas where it just gets a little dark, a little less light is hitting. Alright guys, I'm going to be basically doing the same thing for a little while, so I'm going to play a little music for you. And let's speed it up. Okay guys, so the colors still aren't quite right, but I wanted to stop the music and show you guys. I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to take a near white with a little bit of pink in it. And let's just get the edges of these clouds. So we're going to get a little bit of detail in here. I just wanted to get to this part. So make sure you don't have a ton of paint on your brush, again, because we're going to kind of blend it into the background a little bit. So take your very light pink, white pink, pink white, and we'll start getting some edges here. So you can make really small little circles like we've been doing. Little circles on these edges. And that might give the appearance of a blended, kind of see-through, fluffy edge of the cloud. But if not, you can always do that after. So if it gets, so the parts that get kind of really see-through, like pieces of this cloud up here, don't put them in right at the beginning like this. Just do the main clump, and then once you really run out of paint, then you can kind of dab on some edges when you have basically a brush without much paint on it at all. And you can see if you want little pieces of clouds kind of floating off of the side, you just kind of dab it on there when your brush doesn't have much paint on it, like that. And even better for the really small parts is you can get a more kind of a detail brush to do that for the little strings and stuff that are coming off. At this point, the channel is still really new, so let me know in the comments if there's any kind of videos you want me to make or any kind of changes to these videos. Does it take too long to get to the point? Do you want it longer and no time lapses, just so? Do you like when it's slow, when you can see every little bit the whole way, and therefore these videos could be like 2, 3, 4 hours long? Would you like that? Would you watch the whole thing? Please let me know in the comments things you like, things you want added, and I'll see what I can do. See, there's kind of a light edge to this where the light is just hitting that edge. It looks nice. So we gotta make sure to keep that in. That's what makes it look kind of like it's glowing. Now I'm kind of mapping things out a bit more, just by adding some lights where everything is light, so that I know where to go with all of this. So some of these parts might not even have this kind of hue, but this is just helping to show where everything is. It's a little bit of highlighted clouds. Highlit clouds. I'm not an English major, I'm an art major, man. Let's get some highlights into the sky. So again, we're gonna get our near white. Take a look at the palette. Alright, let's get our white with a little bit of red, making it a pink, but mostly a white. A lot more white, just a slight pinkish, orangish hue to it. My paint has been sitting here a while, so it's kind of dry and not really coming off when I want it. Get a bit of this whitish pink, and let's continue with a little bit of detail on there. Okay, this part right here behind this main cloud, this is actually really bright. So let's mix more white into a side of this. Or let's just make a whole separate pile here, where it is mostly white. So this is the brightest part. Okay. So let's just place that in here behind this cloud. Okay, and a little bit behind Half Dome here. That's also a little bit of a bright cloud way back there. Okay. Now, I actually forgot to do these earlier, but there are actually some clouds behind here as well. So you can kind of take the same approach we were taking earlier, little bitty circles, and it's since we didn't do this with the block in, you can just use this one white kind of for the whole thing here first. And then, and then we'll add to it. Looks like all of the paint I mixed already dried, so we're gonna have to remake some of these colors. I'm guessing you might have to too. So just make a couple pinks here, with a little bit of yellow thrown in. Okay, and there are a few clouds back here that are kind of translucent. So they're not transparent, they're translucent. You can still see them, but they're a bit see-through. So take a lot of the paint off. I just like to kind of dab my brush on the palette like this until most of it comes off. And after you do that, you should be able to do these background clouds. Okay, let's do the same thing, but that is a little too orange, a little too pink. Some of these are more white, so we're going to take the white with just a little bit of pink mix in there. Do the same thing, get a lot of the paint off. You can rub it on the palette, even rub it on a towel. Like I have a towel here that you can't see. So not a lot of paint is still on there. I'm going to get a few more of these clouds up here. One of the best methods is tapping it on like that. And it's okay if they're looking a little too translucent at first and you don't really see them that much. That is just fine. It's a good first step, because later you can put a little more paint on there. Sometimes it's even better to layer it like that. So see how there's kind of the translucent one, and then you just add more paint kind of in the middle of that, and that makes it look even more fluffy because it has a little bit of the translucent part is still there, but you don't cover that whole thing. You just cover parts of it. Okay, they're starting to take shape. We're going to continue with this method, just take a little bit of the paint on the brush, and now it looks like there's some clouds. There are some kind of horizontal canted angles of just stripes of clouds. I don't know what you call those. If it's from planes or that's, I really don't know some of the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm just painting. So let's do some of these kind of horizontal line clouds. Let me know in the comments if you know what those are called, actually. So take a lot of the paint off onto your towel, and let's see. You can just kind of swipe it like that to start. There's another one right here. You can add a little more paint to it like this, but then just bring it down a little bit. Just kind of blend it down so that the bottom looks more translucent. You don't want a thick line there. So if something is a little less translucent, might as well be the top. So you kind of on the top of that, add a little bit more paint if you want, and just kind of fade it out after. Okay, so this line, if you can, find the other side of it. So maybe like there. Let's see if this blender brush will do anything. It's a little bit too big of a blender brush. What about this? Sometimes I'll take kind of a really soft brush that I can use for blending, put a little bit of water on it, just a little bit, get it damp, and then sometimes that'll work for these kinds of things, to just kind of blend it in. Especially if you have a cheap canvas like this one, where it has a lot of tooth to it, sometimes everything kind of gets stuck on those teeth, and it doesn't look as good as it could. All right, we're really getting somewhere. I would say that's where kind of the real block-in is done. where we have a little bit of detail in there, but all of the colors are kind of right where they're supposed to be. So everything is mapped out, and now it's just all about getting more of that detail to come out. So we're going to get the sharp points in there, we're going to get the colors right, and really get these clouds to come out. So to begin, let's just get one of our pink midtones, and let's do this. Alright, my friends, we really want to get this cloud to stand out a bit more. So we're going to get some of the darker darks in there and the lighter lights. And as you can see here, I put kind of just little dots of blue like that. I had to wait for it to dry because the blue of the sky right there, it's kind of, like I said, translucent. You can see that the sky is there, but it isn't just a pure hole straight to the sky. So it needs some kind of white over it, some cloud coverage over it. But like I said, it had to dry first so that it wasn't going to move. So I'm going to get just a little bit of some kind of, let's see what's covering it. Kind of this blue here. Let's take a look at the palette. This bluish purple here. I'm going to take most of it off my brush, you know, our technique. And then just kind of go over it a little bit so that it's just peeking through. You really want to get those edges so that it doesn't look like a hard edge. See, that's starting to look a lot more real there. Hit that paint again. And get the edges, either the whole thing or the edges. You can leave just right in the middle. You can leave just a little bit of kind of that pure blue. But you want to get most of it covered. For me, I'm just gonna cover this whole one here like that. So it still looks like you can see that sky through there. Okay, next, like I said, we want to get some real highlights in here. I'm going to take pretty much a pure white. I don't mind if a little bit of the pink from underneath, from the paint underneath here, gets in there, but I want it to be really white. This is going to be kind of a glow on the edges. So I'm going to take blender brush and this other regular brush. We're going to put it on there and then we're going to blend bits in. Like I said, right here, this part really stands out. It's almost pure there. Okay, now let's just blend it down into here, because it's not a pure line there. This kind of brightens up everything below here as well, at least for a little bit. Everything there. So all of the lighter clouds here, the very lightest lights, we're going to get those. Make sure to get those with this white and just blend. A lot of the tops are like that. The light will just bounce off of the tops of these clouds. In order to make it look like it's glowing, you might have to hit it a few times just to get it real thick right in the middle there where it's the brightest. As you can see, this combo of two brushes is pretty cool. I really like doing this. Makes some things a lot easier when you can take two brushes to get everything together. Okay, I think it's time we get some of these darker colors in here in the bottom. Start getting the shape of the cloud on the bottom there, which we can't really totally see right now. So we're going to take some blue. Some of our mix we're already using, but put some blue into it, darken it up. You can even put a little bit of umber if you really want to get it a little darker. Alright, let's try that. Okay. So this is just this very dark cloud that's kind of right behind that front one. Okay. And same thing to this cloud right here that's underneath it. It gets pretty dark right around there. And then it lightens up, so take some white, put in a little corner there of that color. Let's get the lighter parts. And then over here it gets lighter, so you kind of just blend it right into there where it starts getting lighter. And then into here where it gets orange. then a little bit of land, a little bit of the mountain kind of comes through a little bit. If we can try to show that. Okay, again, I'm going to get a pure white. I haven't done a pure white yet, but I really want this brightness to stand out in certain points, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it here where it really gets bright. But use it sparingly, only in the very brightest spot. Like just around there, and then I'll just blend it out a little bit. Just kind of push it with that second brush. And that's usually how you get something that looks a little bit like a glow. And the bright white only on a couple points on this cloud where I think it's just pure light hitting it. Okay, we're getting pretty close. Again, I think I'm gonna get a couple more highlights here. And still, you can use your pure white for some other highlights, but as long as you blend it in almost right away, then it won't be a pure white anymore. But you can get that brightness along edges. See that? Just blend it right in there. One more layer here to really brighten things up. Make sure you take care of where you're brushing it to. Make sure you think about which way you're brushing when you're blending these things. Brush it out to the sides. Brush it into the cloud. Like if you want a little bit of this brightness to go into this cloud above, then brush it up a little bit. And then if you don't want that and you want the cloud to keep that orange at the bottom and none of the brightness, then you brush it down. Like here, the bottom of the cloud is dark. It's kind of the darkest part, but then also little bits of light also hit the bottom too. So sometimes it's not that easy. You think it's dark, but if you look closely, there's a little bit of luminosity to it as well. It's dark, but also light. I don't know how that works, but that's what happens. Okay guys, I've been reworking this cloud, and it went from good to worse to a little better to a little worse. Sometimes clouds are just not the easiest to make look really genuine and realistic. You can make something look like a cloud-like, but to make it the exact form that you're trying to look for in your reference photo. It's not always easy. So I'm still working on it here. So let's take a look at this. I want to get some sharper detail in there, and also I want to bring some more colors out. So first, for some detail, I want to grab some pure white, and let's just get some edges back in here. I think we're almost done. We're going to get some edges with the pretty much pure white, and then we're going to put a little bit of pink and orange back in there. So let's see what we can do here. I had to rework some of the sky, and that's why some of these edges went bye-bye. So let's bring them back. So I'm just kind of dabbing on. If you try to do it too perfectly, too smooth, it just doesn't always work, at least not for me. So that's why I started doing kind of this dabbing technique, which seems to help as far as I'm concerned. I really want this thing to look like it's glowing. So that's why we're taking this pure white and putting it on some of these edges. Still using the double brush technique. Every once in a while I try to blend some of it into the cloud. I leave the edges, but I blend inward into the cloud. So the edge can be kind of sharp, the edge can be all over the place, but you want to bring some of that inward, if that makes sense. Guys, let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this whole process. If you're on this video soon after it comes out, then I am still new to filming and teaching these things. So everything is a lot different when you're doing it on film. If I can do this for myself, it makes it 10 times harder with a camera. It's harder to think. You might have noticed sometimes I talk a little slower, the right words don't come out, and a lot of that is to do with filming. I don't know what it is. It makes me nervous. Or maybe it's just painting. Trying to pay attention to the painting as well as what I'm trying to say here is not always the easiest to do at the same time. Okay, we're getting we're getting pretty close. When I look at it up close, I don't really love it, but when I look from further back or look at it small in the camera's view, it actually kind of looks like it's glowing. It looks like it's doing what I'm trying to make it do. So that's a good thing. And put a little bit of a highlight here in the middle of this little bunch here. Gonna blend it, but hopefully that gives this part a little bit of form. Oh, that blender brush is not working that well right now. Maybe I need to dampen it. Yeah, a little bit of dampness on that brush will do a lot of good. Okay. And then maybe a little white is coming through here. Even on the bottom where it's really dark, we have a little bit of brightness coming through. Okay. Let's try to get a bit of this cloud right here. I haven't really worked on it too much yet. So here, let's take a look at the palette. Let's make kind of a gray, if you don't have one already, kind of a bluish gray. So obviously just use some white, some blue, maybe some umber to just mute it down a bit. Okay. And put some edges on this cloud. If we can kind of manage to do that here. Thing is, it's going to look a lot better once we do the mountain underneath, which I'm going to get to in the next video actually. That's when you can get the edge of this cloud and really make it take some form. But in this video, because we're not doing the mountain yet, you're only doing what's on top, and it's just not going to look that great yet until we get to that mountain. Okay, we want to get a little bit of a darker color for the darker parts of the cloud. So just take a bit of blue into that mix. It's probably all we need. You could put a little umber, but let's just do some blue for now and see what we get. Yeah, so. So just get the top of this cloud where it's a little darker. There's a little bit of a shadow underneath, so at the edge of it, so like at the bottom here. that can all be a little darker. But again, you can do more of that once we actually get to the mountain underneath. Okay, just blend it a little bit, make it look a little furry on the edges, like a cloud. And let's get our lighter mixture again. Let me put a bit more white in there. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to put just a dab more white in there for just a little bit of a lighter touch in some areas. All right, a little bit of an edge at the top here, so that we know where the cloud begins, and a little bit of light is shooting off the top here. Okay. Whew. We're almost there. Now I just want to take kind of an orange and let's get these orange parts, which will really bring out the color, bring out everything. So let's mix an orange if these haven't dried all the way up yet. So a bit of yellow. Bit of yellow, bit of red. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a little yellower. Put a little more red in here. It's a little yellower, but the part that we're gonna work on now is a little yellower. Some of the parts are pink and some are more orange and some are more yellow. It's not all the same. So let's grab this yellowy orange. Let's see if we can just get the bottom of this cloud here. Blend it in. Alright, I want to put a little more red in here. That is a little too yellow for my taste. Alright. Let's see what this gives us. That is a glowing fire cloud. It's a little much, so blend it all in. I'm gonna put some white in there just to tone it down a bit. That was a little too much. Paints are all dried up. I should just get new paints, but I guess I'm a little lazy right now. Let's see if we can't use this. How about that? Might still be a little too much. I'm going to take a little corner of this, put a little more white in there. And I'm going to start with that, see where that brings us, and then if it's not saturated enough, I'll bring in some of the other orange in that same mixture there. Alright guys, I'm talking a little too much, I think, maybe, let me know. But I think I'll play some music while I do this last part here. So let's speed this up. Okay guys, I think that is about it for our clouds today. So I hope you learned something. Make sure to watch the second video. I'm gonna do these mountains and these trees, so do the next video so that you can do this whole landscape with me. And then please like this video, it really helps me out. And I'll see you in part 2.